out as a Kurdish refugee in northern Sweden and now has Sequoia backing him. Synonymous with caller ID and spam detection, I'm talking about Truecaller, and we have with us the CEO and co-founder, Alan Mamedi, who's joining us on Startup Central. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining in. So let's start off with the beginning, take the clock back. 2009 is when you founded the company. Walk us through how the idea even came about to start something like Truecaller. Were you being spammed a lot?
Thanks for having us. So yeah, me and my co-founder Nami, we started the company in 2009, so more than a decade ago. And we just wanted to solve a problem that we had ourselves, which was getting a lot of calls and messages from unknown numbers, getting a lot of sales calls. And it turned out that, 350 million other people as of today have the same problem as we do. So, it's a growing pain point around the world, I would say. But it was just solving a problem we had ourselves.
Yep, absolutely. And that, of course, is the key to any successful business. Now, it is a problem that we all face. So would you happen to have any data, Alan, just out of curiosity, as to which is, the highest spammed country? Is it India, Brazil? And how many of those spam calls has Truecaller blocked so far?
Well, I think looking at the stats from last year, I believe Brazil was one of the top ones on the top 3 list, at least. Even though people in India do get a lot of sales calls and spam calls, it's not the most spam country in the world. But I would say, every country has this problem and it's growing everywhere. So it's a universal problem. And, on a daily basis, we identify several billion spammers that our users receives calls and messages from. So it's even hard to keep track of the number because it just grows every single day.
Yep, I'm sure it does. And, India as well is a big market for you. Can you just walk us through what percentage of your total revenues come from India and how you're looking to really penetrate and grow further into the Indian market?
Yeah. So, a large size of our revenues are coming from our users in India, but we're also seeing a lot of growth coming from other parts of the world, in Middle East, Africa, Latin America, and these are also markets that, generates revenues for us. So I think in the coming years, we'll see many other regions and countries contributing to a large size of our revenue streams. But the way we think as a company is more around how do we make sure Truecaller works everywhere and that it works great. And then, of course, we're a public company. We went public 2 years ago, so we have to think about our shareholders. But I think in the end, if you focus on the consumer and the product that you want to deliver to your customers, then the rest will happen by itself, basically.
Okay, and if you could just run us through some of the numbers as well as to how the Indian subsidiary's financial statement has been for the last year in terms of what annual revenues you've clocked in versus what the annual revenues are for the group at a level?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact numbers, but on a group level, last year, our revenues came in at close to 1.8 billion Swedish crowns, which is around $200 million in revenues on a global scale. And we're a profitable business as well. So, I think that's important, being a startup and later on, focusing on becoming a sustainable business. I think it's important to be a profitable business so that you're not affected by these economical downturns that happens. And you see a lot of companies doing layoffs. In fact, we're actually hiring more people. We recently moved into our new and big office here in Bangalore. So compared to what many other companies are doing, we're actually expanding our business. And I think that's, something to really appreciate when you're focusing on building a healthy business.
Okay. And so what exactly are your overall revenue streams? I understand that in-app advertising is pretty much the predominant revenue stream for the company. What are the other smaller revenue streams as of now? What about the gold and the premium subscription plans? Do you garner a lot from there as well?
Yeah, so around 80% of our revenues comes from advertisement. Then around 10% comes from subscription, where users can buy, a premium package on the Truecaller app. And then the remaining 10% roughly comes from what we call Truecaller for Business, which is our enterprise model, where we verify and KYC businesses and allow them to integrate into our product. So when HDFC Bank calls you, you will know that this is actually HDFC. It's verified by Truecallers. It's not someone impersonating them. But you also see the reason why they're calling them. So this creates a mutual trust between the user and the bank, basically. And both the subscription and our Truecaller for Business products are growing revenue streams. And we believe that in the coming years, that all our revenue products will become equally important to the business. But the way we try to think about this is, what can we build that provides value to our users? And I definitely think in both the subscription case and in the Truecaller for Business case, it actually provides a lot of value to our users. And it's also important to diversify your offerings inside the product.
Okay. So currently, if you could just walk us through how many users you have in India in specific, and what the target is or the plan is for your overall active users in the country?
Yeah, so we have around 250 million active users in India, and then another 100 million active users outside of India. I think, our plan is to be on every smartphone everywhere around the world. And obviously, there's an estimation that there are around 500 million connected smartphones in India. And our ambition is, of course, to make sure that we make it available for everyone. But also in other regions, we do see smartphone penetration picking up, which we've seen in India the last couple of years, when more people become connected and get a data plan on their phones. These kind of trends we're seeing happening in other places around the world. So that's super exciting.
Okay, now when it comes to India in specific as well, you have the Telecom Regulatory Authority, or TRAI, that has started the consultation on framing the mechanism for callers' KYC-based name to actually flash on the phone screen when someone calls you. Is this caller name display mechanism in any way competitive or in any way going to eat up market share? Because it's pretty much exactly what you guys do.
Well, I do believe that this is a big problem to be solved around spam and scam and impersonation, which I mentioned earlier in this call. And I think the problem is so big that we're happy to have more players trying to solve this issue. Do I believe that this will, eat our business? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a great complement for the consumers to have various sources to look at and verify the information. So we've always said this, we welcome this. And, some of the smartphones that has been sold on the markets for the last 7 years have had built-in services like Truecaller. So it's nothing new in that sense.
Okay, fair enough. And there have been data security issues that have taken place in the past. And, a lot of experts argue that a majority of the data sets from Truecaller have been collected without the actual consent of the users. What is your view? Is this actually a violation of privacy?
Well, we believe that it's your right to know who's calling you. Just like it's your right to know who's actually knocking on your door. That's why also I think it's a testimonial from TRAI that they also believe this is your right to know who's calling you. Now, if we look at the results that we show to our users when they get a phone call, actually a large majority of the names that we show are other Truecaller users' profiles, where they can control what information they want to show. And the remaining part of the results that we show to our users are actually businesses or spammers or scammers. So we're actually talking about legit data that we believe there's that there's a public interest to know which business is calling me or which spammer is calling me. And because we are so big in India, at least every other call will come from another Truecaller user where they've set up their Truecaller profile.
Okay, let's talk about the other revenue stream, Truecaller for Business, which is essentially, like a Google Maps for a lot of these business owners where they can create their profile and share a lot of information like their address, website, email, etc. How many active business customers do you currently have across how many countries, and how are you looking to up the, up the subscription?
So we have around 2,000 enterprise customers on our platform in around 35 different countries around the world. And, we believe that it's important for the businesses to be a part of this platform, to authenticate themselves, to create this mutual trust. And we do see more and more businesses joining our platform every day, every month. So it's a very exciting product, I would say.
And what about Truecaller Priority? What exactly are the services that you're providing there? And how are you looking to garner more users onto this platform? How many do you have at present? And how are you looking to really leverage this platform?
So the priority that we have is a part of the Truecaller for Business offering, where certain businesses out of our 2,000 customers are considered as priority customers. And what that means is that if your Zomato delivering you, it's a priority call. You should pick that up because you're expecting, the food to be delivered. So certain clients are, eligible for being a priority customer. Or if there's a delivery company that is about to deliver a certain package to you, you don't want to miss that. So they are also considered as priority customers. But it doesn't mean anything different in terms of, this is more what the end consumer, the Truecaller users, see on their device, basically.
So there's also call reason, which is a way to tell people why you're calling. And this is something that you adapted basis user feedback. What exactly is call reason?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So we believe that, and this is something that came from our users, where they said, we want to know why this bank is calling us or why this company is calling us. So we built this as a feature inside of Truecaller for our enterprise customers. So when you receive a call from the bank, for example, it might state that the reason why we're calling is because we want to know your credit card has been hijacked, for example. And then after the call, which increases the pickup rate for these calls, because this is an important call for me to take. Then after the call, you can send certain feedback to the business. How was the experience of this call? Or if you don't have time to answer the call, you can also set a callback time. So you as a user can set, I want this business to call me back tomorrow at 5 p.m., for example. So we make it much easier for the users to actually interact with the businesses when they make calls to our users, and vice versa.
Okay. And there was also the acquisition then of Call Hero in the month of January last year, where you're working on AI-enabled assistants, and that's going to have the ability to actually answer, filter, and manage calls on a user's behalf. That is so cool. Tell us more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really cool feature. We launched it late last year in the US. It's going to come to India very soon. And basically what it does is when you receive a phone call, you can click a button in Truecaller when the call is coming in, and the call gets sent to your virtual AI assistant that answers the call and has this conversation with the caller. And you can see in real time in text format what the person is saying and how your AI assistant is responding to this person. And you can take certain actions like tell the assistant tell the assistant to tell the person who called me to call back later, for example. So it manages these conversations that you probably don't want to take or don't have time to take if you're in a meeting or something like that. On top of this, so we're focusing a lot on making the experience for our users more efficient and better.
Well, that's pretty interesting, right? Garnering those insights from the management of Truecaller. Let's shift gears then and